Hey everyone, welcome to another review room tutorial. Last time we finished talking about the form editor. Now there's one more thing I want to talk to you about. So if you click on back to forms, it's going to take you back to the index of the forms that we have in our competition. So what you should note in this particular section is that we talked about the forms for the first group of applicants, right? The local applicants. One of the questions that you might have is, well, my global applicants form is going to be pretty much the same thing. How do I, copy the same questions? Because I don't want to go through the same process and build those questions again. So if you click on that original form, you'll be taken back to where you are. And here, what you're going to be able to do is copy and paste those questions. So I'm going to show you two ways. One is the lengthier way, and one is the easier way. So you can actually open up two tabs and do this, one page at a time, but basically select these questions, right-click, copy, and then what you can do is just press the back button on your browser, go back to that index, click on that second form over here, and here you can basically click on that and then you can right-click and paste those questions, right? And if you had two tabs, you could go page by page, and then just make sure to save, obviously. You go page by page and paste in those questions. So that's from a very basic level. I'll show you something. So if it's a gigantic form and it has 20 pages, you don't want to do that because that would be a lot of work. So there is something else you can do, and that is to duplicate this form. So you can actually click on duplicate, right? And you type in the new name of the form, and as soon as you do, something's going to happen. It's going to duplicate that form. You won't see it here, but if you scroll to the bottom, you see, there is this new form. It's a copy of the original form, and it's in the other form section. That means that that form is not being used by a task, because if it was used by a task, then it would be somewhere here. But it's kind of, think of it as an orphan form. So if you go back to the design competition section, what you'll be able to do is actually make your task use that form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the upload, or for the global applicants, the tell us about yourself task. I'm going to click on that, and what I'm going to do is actually change the form that it points to. So I'm going to go to the form section, and the form, tell us about yourself, but I'm going to change it to that copy, right? And then press save. And now something interesting is going to happen, because if I go to the Create Edit Form section, you'll see that this task now points to the copy form, and the form that it was originally referring to, that's just going to go into the other form section. So it's pretty cool what you can do with Review Room in terms of copying forms. You'll see that the changes were made. But let's talk about the reviewer forms and how do those work. So if I click on a reviewer form, now reviewer forms are very much like applicant forms. It's the same form builder, but there's an important concept that you need to take into account. Now the first thing here is that you'll notice that there is this page of data, and that's fine. However, let's say you don't want this question. Most of the time you don't need to ask information for the reviewer because that's already logged in the system. So you can actually X out of that. This is a default template that we throw in. Now what you'll notice is that there's a question. If you click on this, it says please rank the applicant in these categories from 1 to 5. That means there's 6 categories, 1 to 5, 6 times 5, a total score of 30. And there's room for additional comments. Now this is a template, and let's minimize choices. Now all these variables, you can change this. So instead of eligibility, let's say we wanted creativity, right? You could do that. You can make those changes. That's no problem. Now, what if you wanted to build your own question type? Let's say throw something else in. So let's throw in a multiple choice question right beneath that, for example, and use this. You can also do that. You can modify these questions. So how great an idea was it, for example, right? And for the ranking, I'll click on bulk so I can type in faster. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and press OK. And what happens is something interesting. So the first choice always gets a score of 1, second choice always score 2, so on and so forth. So if this was the reverse, it wouldn't work quite as well. And I'll explain that to you in just 1 second. That comes to an end of this particular tutorial, but we'll talk more about reviewer ranking forms in the next one. Stay tuned. We'll talk to you again soon.